What's up, everybody? I am Bernard Damon Holcomb, and I am the host and the creator of the Damon Speaks Show. Welcome to the show tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do me a favor. Type in the chat where you're tuning in from. Say hello to us. I know we're going live from a few extra places than we have before. You can find us every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on your favorite social media platform. That's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch. Just search for the Damon Speaks Show. Tonight is a very, very special show. We have 4 beautiful women who have beautiful voices and that are beautiful, amazing performers on the show. And we're going to be talking about music and motherhood. Personally, as an opera singer and as a performer, I've heard through the years that being able to be a performer and have a family or to be a mom is nearly impossible. But these women are doing it, honey, and they're doing it fiercely. So we want to get the scoop. We want to know how they're doing it. We want to know about their joys. We want to know about their challenges. But first, before that, we're going to do a little intro meme. You know, I've really gotten into memes lately. And we're going to talk about that as we let the ladies get ready to come on. This first meme says, saying how you feel will never ruin a real connection. Listen, can I let you in on a little secret? I'm a people pleaser. I've been a people pleaser for most of my life, and that has kept me from saying how I really feel. So I would think people think that being a people pleaser and going along with the program and always doing what someone else wants to do, always compromising and doing what they want to do in a relationship is the way to endear them to us. That is the way to make them love us even more. But that's not the truth. The truth is that when you go along with everything else, when you don't say how you really feel, you cannot have true intimacy in your relationship. True intimacy is being able to say, I don't like that. True intimacy is being able to say, I'm anxious. True intimacy is being able to say, I'm a little bit jealous. True intimacy is able to say, this is my boundary and I'm not going any further. That gives you so much room for growth. That gives you so much more room for true connection and true love. So if there's somebody out there today that's struggling with whether to tell their partner, their husband, their girlfriend, their wife, what the real deal is, I want to encourage you to do that. This year, 2021, my 38th year of life, have learned that that is the way to go. I am someone that struggles with anxiety. It really goes deep. And I've learned that saying how I really feel, no matter how scary it is, gives me a freedom that I've never felt before. and it's helped me to have deeper relationships than I've ever had before. To be completely honest, as of late, I felt as if my life was falling apart. My anxiety has gotten to levels that it's never been before. I took a mental health break. I went home to see my family for a week, and that was very good. But the moment I came back to New York City, a place that I have loved and that I do love, I started to feel all that anxiety start to bubble up again. So I've had to be honest in my relationships and say, this is something that I can't handle. This is something that I'm going through. And I decided to show up for you tonight. Why? This is why the Damon Speaks Show exists. If there's one person out there that is inspired, if there's one person out there that's encouraged, motivated, or that hears my story or hears these beautiful ladies' stories tonight, and they know that they can get up tomorrow and do the same thing, then our work is done. So here we are. I'm feeling a lot better actually doing the show and being with you tonight as opposed to being under my covers. So we're gonna have a great show. Okay, so before I bring the ladies on, I want you to get introduced to them through their bios. I'm going to read them. Maraway, while pursuing a sales and marketing degree at Tuskegee University, Ms. Adib realized that singing in the university choir would not sustain her love for performing after graduation. Her path led her to Louisiana State University, where she began classical training and continued on to Binghamton University in New York for her master's degree. Two of her favorite roles performed are Violetta in La Traviata and Mimi in La Boheme, both performed under the baton of Maestro Vlad Ifinca at Tri-Cities Opera. Another favorite has been singing the role of Clara in Porgy and Bess under the baton of Maestro John Demain and the direction of Francesca Zambello at the Glimmer Glass Festival. Some other roles that Miss Adib has performed include Nanetta in Falstaff, Donna Elvira in Don Giovanni, Gilda in Rigoletto, and Bard II in Ben Moore's opera Odyssey. In addition to performing operatic roles, Miss Adib has enjoyed competing in vocal competitions, winning third place in the Mid-Atlantic region of the Metropolitan Opera National Council auditions and second place in the Deborah Voigt/Vero Beach Opera Foundation inaugural international vocal competition. Recent performances include the title role in Puccini's Suor Angelica at Tri-Cities Opera, Annie in the world premiere of The Flood at Opera Columbus, Frasquita in Carmen with Annapolis Opera, Clara in Porgy and Bess with both Fort Worth Opera and Teatro Regio in Torino. Oh, my tongue. And Galatea and Aces and Galatea in a virtual co-production with Annapolis Opera and Tri-Cities Opera. Upcoming performances include Layla Wright in Stephen M. Allen's Lyrics of Sunshine and Shadows, soprano soloist in a concert with the Princeton Festival, Joy in Everything for Dawn with Experiments in Opera, and soprano soloist in Beethoven's Symphony No. 9 with Columbus Symphony. We're also being joined by Rocky Duvall. Rocky Duvall is an opera singer, TEDx speaker, performance poet, public speaking coach, actor, and wannabe drag king. She likes singing weird new music, weird old music, and writing pretty poems with dense imagery that make you feel really a lot of all the emotions. That sounds good to me. She has performed all over the world, including Art TV Germany, La Uno, Spanish National Television, Off-Broadway, the Metropolitan Opera Guild, and the Glimmer Glass Festival. A believer in creating a portfolio career, Rocky recently produced a virtual children's opera learning platform, which is slated to be seen and enjoyed by thousands of students worldwide by the end of the year. We're also joined by Kirsten Piper Brown. American soprano Kirsten Piper Brown has delighted audiences in lead roles with companies including San Francisco Opera, It's a Wonderful Life, Lincoln Center Theater, Intimate Apparel, Opera Memphis, Orpheus, Opera Theater, Carmen, Opera in Williamsburg, the Magic Flute and Orfeo Euridice, and the Center for Contemporary Opera, Falling Angel. Additionally, Ms. Brown is a sought-after Bess, having sung Porgy and Bess with the New Orleans Opera, Dayton Opera, Virginia Opera, Utah Festival Opera, Skylight Music Theater, Kazan Opera, Cape Town Opera, yes, very good, and the Hamburgische Staatsoper, the Semperoper Dresden, the Deutsche Oper am Rhein, and Komische Oper Berlin, to name a few. Ms. Brown's concert career includes performances with the Atlanta Symphony, Pasadena Symphony, and Pops, San Jose Chamber Orchestra, Moscow City Symphony, Belarusian State Philharmonic, Residential Orchestra, very good. The Hague, Amsterdam Sinfonietta, Lebanon Symphony and Chorus, Cedar Rapids Chorale and Symphony, Rochester Oratorio Society, Rochester Early Music Festival, and the Gateways Music Festival. She has also been seen at the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, Jazz at Lincoln Center, Bruno Walter Auditorium, Royal Festival Hall, Edinburgh Festival Light, Opera Works Chicago, Chicago Theater Center, Arena Stage, and the Studio Theater. A native of Alexandria, Virginia, Ms. Brown is a proud graduate of both Spelman College and Northwestern University. She is an active member of Sigma Alpha Iota Music Fraternity for Women, choir of the Board of Directors of the Gateways Music Festival, and a classic radio host for WXXI Broadcasting in Rochester, New York. Okay, Kirsten, very good. And last but certainly not least, we're being joined by Andi Marie Moore. Metropolitan Opera soprano Marie Moore has hailed for, sorry, hold on, let me start that again because I can't read my sister's thing like that. Metropolitan Opera soprano Andi Marie Moore hailed for possessing a voice of clarion beauty, the Washington Post, with tender effect, compelling opera news, and noted for her bluesy humming and honey tone. Come on, honey, the New York Times. This past season, she made her Metropolitan Opera debut in Porgy and Bess in the role of the Strawberry Woman. Career highlights on the opera stage include Donna Elvira in Don Giovanni with l'Opera de Monte Carlo for her international operatic debut, Nedda in Pagliacci with Sarasota Opera, Serena in Porgy and Bess with Atlanta Opera and Virginia Opera, young African-American soprano in the world premiere of Ricky Ian Gordon's Rappahannock County with Virginia Opera, and Odessa Clay in the world premiere of Approaching Ali with Washington National Opera, where the Baltimore Sun reported. Andi Marie Moore nearly walked off with the opera in the supporting role of Ali's mother, Odessa. Her radiant soprano lit up the Terrace Theater even when she was just softly humming. Her portrayal was remarkably detailed and touching. Concert engagements are highlighted by her performance with the New World Symphony for Samuel Barber's Knoxville, summer of 1915, under the baton of Maestro Stephen Jarvie, as well as the National Symphony Orchestra as their featured guest soloist for the Christmas Pops concert with Marvin Hamlish conducting. Please welcome Merwe, Kalia Adib, Rocky Duvall, Kirsten Piper Brown, and Andi Marie Moore. You have to unmute yourselves, ladies, but I would love to hear from you.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the Damon Speaks Show. How y'all doing?
Good.
I so appreciate you all for coming tonight. So as we started with the meme, we're going to continue with the meme game. We're going to bring up the first meme and I'll just ask you your thoughts on it. So let's do the first meme. Here we go. Denzel Washington said, if you died tonight, your employer would advertise to fill your job role by the end of the month. But your loved ones, chosen family, and friends would miss you forever. Don't get too busy making a living that you forget to work on making a life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
It reminds me of...
The reason I chose this meme is because you're all moms, and I'm sure there are people that have told you that in order to have the career that you want, the life that you want, that you could not have both. But I feel like you're having your career, but you're also placing importance on family and your children.
I had a really great friend of mine who's a wonderful performer in opera and all other things, who had some hesitancy when it came to settling down and getting married and starting a family. And she told me, you know, her hesitancy was, well, I'll have to stop my career. And I said, well, honey, you're going to stop your career to create something that's going to go beyond it. So don't shy away from that. And, your career is going to disappoint you but people will disappoint you as well. But starting a family and having that, what I call that's my rock, my husband and my kids, those are my rocks. And to be able to come home and to be with them, they're not judging me. They don't write reviews. They love me if I sang sharp, flat, forgot the line, whatever. So I say, do what you want to do. If somebody want to love on you, start a family, do it. If that's what you want to do.
No, I agree with you, Kirsten, because I have to say, my family really balances me. It's nice. The thing is that I notice more so when you walk off the stage, the lights are off, the conductor goes out of the pit, the chorus is gone, the orchestra's gone, the audience is gone, and then you find yourself alone. It's so refreshing to be able to go home and these people are waiting for you with open arms. They could care less about what you just did. I mean, to be honest, my boys, they're like, Mommy, no more singing today. No more, no more. So, I mean, Denzel hit it on the head that, he is absolutely right. When, unfortunately, if anything happens to us, they will have someone to replace us immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And our loved ones will love us and miss us forever or be there with us. So I definitely agree with, if you want to start a family, if you have a family, don't give up what your passions are, just integrate your family in it.
I actually needed this meme even before the pandemic. Y'all know we go through periods where we're very busy and then we're not. And I had a period where all of my friends were busy and I was not. And so I was home with my son, and I was not happy about it. I wanted to be out in the streets singing. But some of my family members reminded me that this time period that you have at home with your child is temporary, and he's so young right now. This is the time that is like so important and special to spend with him, because eventually you will be busy again and you might be tired and look back at that time like, dang, I was complaining, but I could have rested. So on the flip side, take those moments that have for, not working, to rest and really enjoy your family without the distraction of work.
Yeah, that's such a good point, Maraway. And there was a great New York Times article yesterday for Mother's Day, written by this woman who, I forget what the title was, but she was basically like, I don't regret having kids at 25. And I really resonated with that because I started my family before I started my singing career. And in our world, that is like unheard of. I mean, Maraway knows because she called me. I met her at Glimmerglass and she called me and she was like, hey, you're like the only mom I know. Can we talk? I was like, yes, of course. And I think, I hear it over and over again from my friends. I want to start a family, but it's not the right time. Or I'm scared that I won't have work, or whatever it is. And I just love this. Don't get too busy making a living that you forget to make a life. If you want a family, make a family. Have a family, settle down, I mean, and I know that's life's. You do what's best for you, obviously, but I don't know. This whole you got to wait for the right time to have your kids. I'm like, yeah, there's never a great time. It wasn't a great time when I was 24, to get pregnant, but we did it because that's what we do as moms. We just make it work,
Man, someone told me just like there's never a perfect time to move to New York City, there's never a perfect time to start a family. It's going to be hard. There are going to be things that you have to deal with, but don't let that stop you from doing what you want to do. We don't want to live a life of regrets. And it's also, Maraway, I really enjoyed what you said about there being an ebb and a flow to this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Saying sometimes it's damning, everybody's like, Maraway, but no, come on. And then other times it's silent. So we really have to learn how to deal with that. And I think it's wonderful that you all have families and children that keep you grounded and you have a real foundation with that. Let's go on to the next meme. I be forgetting what I chose. I know it's something. Trying to understand how 2 plus 3 plus $1 came to a total of 287.
I feel personally attacked by this meme.
That's why you don't go in Target. You use Target Drive Up. Let them bring it out to you.
I'm gonna tell you.
I think I had that with my first. Did I? I ain't had that.
Probably
I had to
not,
go
no.
in.
I'm gonna tell you, whether it's Target, Walmart, Costco, or Sam's, honey, I swear to God, they spray something on me.
It's called
And I go in there for one thing, and here I be at $287.25. Spray something, they go, get her. We gonna get her.
I'm just thankful I don't have to buy diapers and formula anymore. So,
Ooh-wee. Okay.
Days. I was living in a walk-up during that time.
Oh gosh.
ooh,
That was rough.
walking them Pampers up.
I'm still buying pull-ups.
I remember with my second, I would just leave. It was my door. I could sort of see the foyer. I was just on the first floor. And I would leave the door to the apartment open and just leave the baby sleeping in the foyer and be like, just be quiet when you come in, please, neighbors. Don't wake him.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, Walmart gets me. Target, not so much, but Walmart, it's like, oh, everything's so cheap. It's just another $2. It's just another 50 cents. $287.25 later, I'm walking out like, dang. But then I've already gotten everything in the cart. I've already set my mind on having the things. You know, I mean, there is a such thing as retail therapy, right? So one of my therapist friends said that she told one of her clients, she said, listen, what you really enjoy is just picking out the things. You don't really have to buy it. So go in, fill up the cart with all the things you want, and then walk away.
Oh,
No, I don't.
I don't know.
That works.
I hold them. I'll just pick it up and hold it. One of my friends
I
was
need
like,
this stuff in the dollar bin. I need that stuff.
Here's one thing I used to do. Is I used to like when I used to like shop at Forever 21 and stuff. This is like long time ago, before marriage and all that. And I would see a dress that I did not go in the store for. And I'll try it on and be like, this looks really good on me. And I do not need it, but I want it. I'll put it back and say, if you walk around the mall and you can't stop thinking of it, or if you go home and you can't stop thinking about it, then you can come back and get it. But if I forget about it, then I'm like, I didn't need it. And then I'm like, okay, I saved $25.
I do that to this day.
Good one.
I do that to this day.
All right, let's go on to the next meeting. I knew that was going to get y'all mamas. Ooh, this is a good one. Attention is not love. Attachment is not connection. And bare minimum is not effort. Talk to me about this one.
Well, attachment. I've been having attachment struggles lately because I'm at my parents' house and my child sticks to me closer than he does when I'm at my house.
Wow.
I don't understand. And it's not that he like misses me. It's that I don't know. I took him out of his comfort zone by bringing him here, even though this is grandma and grandpa's house. And he's just, it's a lot. The thing I think, right, the main point here is the intention. You have to have the intention in order for it to be meaningful.
I think as a mom, you know, coming up when I had my first child and young, I read so many books and was in mom groups, and I thought, you know, I was in these little web groups or online groups, and you know, they talked about the attention and they talked about attachment parenting and connecting and all of these things that are listed here. And what I found, because you talked about anxiety, Bernie. Sorry, I called you Bernie. Talked about anxiety. I had really bad postpartum anxiety. And I didn't recognize it until later that that's what it was. And it gripped me personally. And it kind of bled into my singing, actually, into my career. But I just learned that I had to make my own way and that I had to take from those books, from those groups, all of that, take what fit me and flush the rest and not hold myself to some standard of who I'm supposed to be, especially as a mother, because that was the new role to me. And, you know, all of this, the attention, the attachment, the connection, you know, you have to connect and attend to and attach the way that feels good for you. And even as my children grow older and I travel more, and I'm very tuned into how do I connect? How am I connected with them when I'm away? And I am affirmed over and over when, for instance, I got this beautiful Mother's Day card about how attentive I am. And I had just been gone for like a month, like, how attentive. Because you question yourself, And so it's really relative to, what you just got to do it yourself and know for yourself and not judge yourself up against any other woman who's doing the homemade cookies and, look, we ordered Panera tonight. Sorry, but you just got to find your own way and be comfortable and do it your way. So that kind of hit me a little bit right here.
I mean, I feel like everyone has said what I'm thinking. Because to be honest, being a mom, there is no real book. There's no real book to really teach you how to be a good mother and be a performer or a business owner or whatever your endeavors are. Because let me just say, just because we're moms and we perform, moms who are doctors, moms who are lawyers, some of them have the same plights that we have. So being a mom, there is just no rule book. And I have to say that this particular meme, I question all the time, am I doing enough? That doesn't go away. But I also question, if I don't do this for me, will I feel any kind of regret? Will I have any kind of, will I like, not envy, but will I blame them for why I'm not where my thank you, resentment. That's what holds me and makes me. That's really what holds me and makes me drive to my passions even more, because I don't want to resent my children. I don't want to resent being married and having a husband, because these are the things that a lot of us women think about before we say I do, before we have kids. We think, oh my goodness, if I do this, this is going to stop this altogether. And we were taught this for so long that we would not have the careers of what we imagined. And I may not have the career of what I imagined, but I have to say that I have a life better than I ever imagined, with having these children and this family and this husband that I absolutely adore. It's a life that I cannot describe, and I feel like I'm so much more fulfilled than I would have been if I just went straight at being, a performer and, trying to just without anyone else and being on an island by myself. So this right here, to be honest, this bare minimum is not an effort. That line right there, I question it all the time. Am I doing enough? And I don't want to just do the bare minimum for my kids. I want to do more than that. And I have gigs coming up and I have to leave them. And then you have your family members or friends saying, well, who gonna watch the kids? You gonna leave them with your husband? And I'm like, well, that's their daddy. Why not? So when people ask me them kind of questions, because they gonna ask you, honey. They're gonna say, so you gonna leave them with the dad? Yeah, I'm gonna leave him with him.
You gonna let him babysit his own kid?
Right? Oh, I hate that.
I hate that.
I cannot stand it. When you go to have something to crawl up, that right there, that's a pet peeve. Don't you bother me? Don't you say that to me?
Right.
As if I'm the only real parent up in here. No. He work, I work. He got kids. They his kids. They my kids. It's not babysitting. So this meme, like I said, the bare minimum is not enough. That speaks volumes for me more so than anything, because I try my best to not just do the bare minimum, of course, but do what I can do to not only support them and their needs, but also make sure that I'm filled.
Rocky, anything to add?
What Andy said. All of that.
This is the Damon Speaks Show, and I really love talking about vulnerability. I really love talking about the real journey. And Andy, you said something that really struck me that I never considered before. How moms feel and the fears that come up for you, that you may actually resent your own children. Like, let's get into that. Like, moms have feelings. Moms have mental health issues. How do you deal with that?
For me personally, I meditate every morning. That's something that is a part of my normal regimen. I get up in the morning, I get on my knees, have a moment with my Lord, and then I sit on my behind in front of my window and start reading and meditating and just getting ready for the day. But let me just say, the way that I really deal with it is when I take jobs that may take me away from my family longer, I really have to contemplate it and what is it worth to me,
Right.
and how long is it, and how can I incorporate my kids somehow in that job, meaning, if I'm gone more than 4 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever the gig might be, making sure that they are allowed to come with me. Like, I just have to start really doing a lot of logistics, and that's what you have to do. You just have to navigate it like that. If it's a short job, because I do more concert work than opera work, and to be honest, I prefer that. One, honey, I get paid more, in a shorter period of time. So let's be real. Let's be real. You just make a little bit more money. But it's only like 3 or 4 days. And I'm like, I can be gone for them for 3 or 4 days because I need a break anyway. Break. I need a break. Okay. She done homeschooling. She done cooking, cleaning. She done it. Break. Okay. So I take more of those opportunities, but when I have like opera jobs, it just has to make sense. When I was at the Met, it was a 7-month run, to be honest. And even though I was Strawberry Woman and my role was one of the smaller roles, I still had to be within a 15-minute radius, getting to the Met within 15 minutes. So I rented an apartment. I made sure I had some help with me, and I had my kids with my baby at least with me, and my oldest was in private school, but I would have my husband bring him up every weekend because DC to Maryland is only 3.5 hours drive, really. So we made it work that way. And I did not let a day go by that my son didn't see me on FaceTime or something. That's the beauty about technology now. We have that to be able to connect. So it's helpful in that way. But I just don't want to look back on my life and be upset. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to be mad with them. And then if they grow up and ain't what I want them to be because I've sacrificed, or what in my mind I sacrificed, I don't want to be mad with them because I said, well, I put this on hold, waiting, for you to be this. You better get it together. I don't want to do that to myself.
That's not their fault. Yeah.
It's not. And so, and I realized that.
And something you said, Andy, struck me too, because I have also turned down gigs because I didn't want to resent the gig. Ooh. And I didn't want to resent the career. Mm-hmm. Like I got started with a gig here in New York last year, and they weren't honest with me about the rehearsal schedule. Mm-hmm. And I was covering, and I didn't get the rehearsal schedule right away. And I thought, I'm a cover. I've done this plenty of times. I'm going to learn the role. I'm going to show up a week ahead of time. I'm going to watch all that blocking and learn it because that's what we do. And I'll go on if I need to. I'll be ready. They wanted me at every single rehearsal for a cover fee. And y'all know these small New York opera companies. That's not a lot of money. And I was like, no, I'm not going to go be away from my kids for a 6-week period, 3 evenings a week. Like, I'm not going to do that. And it just, I like what you said, but, and I think it's really a two-way street, like the resentment towards the career and also the resentment towards the family. There's a balancing act that we're constantly doing. And I got on their, can I cuss on this show? I don't know.
Yes, you can absolutely.
I got on their shit list. Like, I will never get hired by them again. And I know that because I quit halfway through, a week or two in, I was like, y'all weren't honest with me and I can't do this. Well, then you don't have a career with us again. Then I don't want to work with you. So, I mean,
if you can't be transparent,
exactly,
because it has to be worth it for us financially and schedule wise,
and artistically. I'm not against taking a gig here and there that's like, oh, this is just going to be a really soul artistically fulfilling gig. But when all of them are starting to fall into that category, you're like, wait, I'm not actually not making any money now. This is a hobby. No, I'm not
Spending
going to
more
do
on
that.
childcare.
Well, I got offered another gig recently here in the city, and it was like 2 months ago during, pandemic times. It would have started in February. So exciting. Like, yes, a gig in the city live. What's the fee? She goes, well, we can offer, and get this, I had to do 4 shows a night. It was one of these like rotated things, right? 4 shows a night, $80 a night. I was like, bitch, that don't even cover my parking. Like, come on.
It's just disrespectful.
That's what I said. I was like, honestly, like, really? You can't. And this show is like been highly reviewed by all the major publications. Everybody wants to see it. Hottest ticket in town kind of thing. I was like, you can't like pay your performers a living wage?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. $80 a night for 4 shows? Ooh.
I wouldn't pay a cockroach to do
That's
that.
trash. That's
I know. I was like, that's Chipotle money. That's not like living. I can't do that.
I would say for me, I constantly, and Bernard, you said this earlier about being a people pleaser. That is quietly me. I don't like it, but I'm such a people pleaser. I don't think I've ever said it out loud. So thank you for that therapy. I said it. I'm a people pleaser. Said it there. And so, that works really well with my children. I want to please my children. But for me, it's constantly checking in. And not even really checking in, but just kind of asking them, how are they doing when I come back from a gig? How was it? And, I eavesdrop sometimes, not eavesdrop, but I did eavesdrop. I had my children on a gig with me, and I was picking up my children at a cafe with the nanny was there with her family. And I heard my oldest bragging about me. Like, my mommy's a star in this show, and and she's the best singer in the world. And I was just like, I just was a puddle, because that I was affirmed at that moment. Like, I am not harming them. Like, they are proud of me. And I think it's Andy, when you said that you want to, I don't remember exactly what you said, but you want your children to be proud of what you do, and you want to pursue your career, and you want to live your dreams so that they can see what you did and make a way out of almost no way. Sometimes it feels like, I've gone to gigs like with a kid on my hip and pushing a stroller going to rehearsal, like, sorry, the nanny ain't here. What rehearsal number are we at? And just, you just make, and I sang, and you just make a way. And, but for me, I'm constantly, doing those check-ins. And I got an email from my youngest son's teacher, and she said, guess what we did all day? We watched you on YouTube. and my youngest narrated, oh, she's singing. He made up languages. He didn't know what language I was singing it. But yeah, but that's how they ended their day. And that's what he wanted to share with the class. And so it's those moments that really make it worthwhile for me and make me feel like it's okay. I can keep going. I can keep pushing, and I can move forward, because they're not telling me all the time, Mommy, I'm proud of you, but I see it and I hear it, and I eavesdrop.
This is nice to hear. All of you have kids older than mine. So that's part of the reason I was like, oh, this is going to be good because I can learn something. But mine is only 3, so he knows, almost 3. So he knows I sing, but outside of me playing skills and singing loud in the house, he has no idea what's going on when I leave the house. So it's nice to hear that, that might be on the horizon, that, I am enough as a mother.
That's the word, really. Can we close? We are enough. Done.
And I can still work and pursue my passion and, raise a well-rounded human. Mm-hmm. I can do that and expose him to the world in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh, come on, word. I am enough. That's an affirmation.
I am enough.
Powerful. What does that look like for you? Like, ladies, when the world tells you that you need to be home all the time, or that you shouldn't be leaving your kids, how do you remind yourself that you're enough? and that what you do is enough?
I should not be home all the time. I've learned from personal experience that that is not, it does not work well for my personality. I thrive outside of the house. Like just as a human, I work best in environments built for that. So like I like to work out in the gym or we'll go running outside. And I like to practice with the piano in a designated practice area and things like that. So when everything's at home, there's too many distractions because I gotta clean that, cook, and la la la, and then this kid's running around. So I am a better I feel that I'm a better mom and wife and friend and sister when there's balance. I'm also a Libra, so there's that.
Ew, I didn't know you were a Libra.
Yeah, girl, October 14th. Woohoo! Yeah, so like I gotta get out of here. I need to be out in the world so that I can live a full life. Then I'm happier and I can give people more positive energy. Everyone, my family, my friends, and my work. Y'all heard of happy wife, happy life.
Okay.
But expand upon that.
I'm a little bit old fashioned too, you know. I mean, not that this is an old fashioned thing, but I check in with my husband, you know, with every contract, of course. And because he's really doing the superhero work of holding down the too many hours of work a week and trying to, you know, sometimes he tries to do it on his own. I'm like, bruh, really? Let's get some childcare up in this situation. Like, you gonna really come home from work and cook some food and pick? No, you're not gonna do all that. You know, you're not gonna do that. You know, you're not gonna do that. But there have some times, and you know, this is some partner marriage advice to some of y'all. Don't let other people tell you what you should be doing with your family. There have been people who've told me I shouldn't be on the road, that I need to be at home. What does my husband eat? The same thing he ate before we got married.
He will not starve.
And so, as far as my marriage is concerned, that's between he and I and God. You know, that's our conversation. So don't let anybody tell you or deflate you as a wife and as a mother, because it's none of their business unless they paying some bills, paying some childcare, buying some food. It's none of their business, really. And I had to learn how to shut that out and check in and be like, checking with him. What you think? Oh, my husband's a pimp. Don't get it twisted. When I'm sitting at home, he's like, you ready to get back at it? Let's get a nanny. Come on, let's get out there. I mean, he ready. So I feel blessed that he supports me and wants me to get out. And, you know, we just make sure that we are prepared at home and that the kids are taken care of and that he's taken care of. But he knows this is what, look, he met me doing this. He told my pastor in counseling, she's sexy when she on stage. And I remind him all the time. I remind him, you said I was sexy, so I'm just out there being sexy. That's all I'm doing. So he wanted me out there. He wants me to be out there and doing my thing. And so all that to say, like, you just got to shut out the noise.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, they like to brag too. They like to brag on us.
They sure do.
And show your little videos to their friends. Because, you know, when we're happy and fulfilled, they feel it too.
Yeah.
And they like it when, you know, they come to your performance and people are like, "Ooh, your wife was so great." And they're like, "Oh, thank you." They love that. But shout out to the spouses because we can't do it without them. There are so many people that are held back by their family members. And that is very unfortunate. We literally cannot do it without their enthusiasm and their support and their collaboration. So.
And
it sounds like the four of us have very supportive partners.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I was about to say, the same thing. I mean, because it's one thing being a mom and being a performer, but all of us are married and having some sort of partner. Having a partner in life makes this easier, a supportive partner. Let me put that there. A supportive partner, and makes it easier to do this. Single moms or single dads trying to raise a family and have a career such as this is challenging. And they're facing challenges that we are not accustomed to or aware of. However, you know, I want to make that clear that all four of us have someone at home backing us up. And if we fall, there's somebody there to catch us. If
Yes.
we make some financial mistakes when it comes to, taking a gig that does not pay like we are deserving of, we have somewhat of a fallback, that a safety net. And I recognize that, and and I'm sure all the other ladies. So that's also a difference between us compared to single a single woman or man who has a child is a lot more challenging. You have to have some sort of support, some sort of fallback, some sort of net to help you.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Take the village.
It takes a village.
It really does.
I want to go back to something Kirsten was talking about, and I was talking about people pleasing. And I think, now I'm not a daddy, I'm a god daddy, but I'm not a daddy. That sometimes that can come into our relationships with, or that may come into your relationships with your kids. So how do you set boundaries? I have found that setting boundaries and being clear about the lines around what I'm going to do and what I can't do or whatever helps my relationship. So I'm assuming that even goes into the relationships with your children, or not. Do you set boundaries with your kids? How do you set boundaries with your kids? Like, these humans came out of your body.
I'm going to take notes because I don't know. Help.
No, Mary, with your son your age, they don't know boundaries. I would say now that my children are 7 and 9 currently. And what I've had to do to make that boundary clear, those boundaries clear when it comes to my work life, and what I have to do, I have to remind them that it's work. They see me having a good time. And I am blessed that I can have a good time and that I enjoy, and I do not detest what I do for a living. And they see that, and it's wonderful. And I love for them to see that, mommy does a job that she loves, and they think it's fun, they think it's play. And so sometimes when I'm practicing, I'm at the piano, they want to, howl over me, or they want to pull me in to go jump on the sofa, or I have to remind them, like, no, mommy's working right now. Like, this is, oh, you're singing. Yeah. But the singing took you to Disney World. So you want to go back? Okay, let me learn this. So, so I just sometimes, and I think Maraway mentioned this, there was a time where, and especially during this pandemic, like, I had nowhere to go to practice. I had to practice at home. And so I had to remind them that I am still preparing for, work that's upcoming. And that's hard to do when you're in the home and you're mom at home. You're not the opera singer or the artist at home. You're mommy. And mommy, I want a snack. Or mommy, it's dinner time. What time you gonna feed me? Or, so it's been, they know when I'm sitting in my little office and I done put up pictures. I got Margaret Bonds looking over me, got Florence Price looking down at me like, when mommy is here, I'm in my space. And so that's been a hard thing to communicate. But even sometimes I want to, like, just look at a score sitting at the kitchen table. It hardly works. I got to sit at the piano, look at a score, and be on that bench, uncomfortable bench. Can't relax. Mm-hmm. So I just have to let them know that, thank you for noticing that I love what I do, but it's work.
I do the same thing that Kirsten does. I'm in the same boat. I don't really have anywhere to practice either, other than my home. And I have to do the same exact thing. I have to remind them, this is my time. Let me do this. My husband will definitely take them out. I do have also a nanny. She'll take them out, like play outside or something, downstairs in the basement, so that I can just get some quiet time, just to really concentrated time. But I also find myself up early in the morning, like at 7, and with my score on my lap, especially when I'm learning a new role or learning something fresh and new. I'm there doing my beats, speaking it out. I may not be playing it, or I'll be listening to something, but that's where I tend to get a bulk of my study while they're sleeping, or just not, I don't want to say in the way, but they're just not there to distract me.
I think boundaries are also, you know, your kids, it's boundaries around the career with your kids, but it's also just the boundaries of saying, you know, this is what I do to take care of myself. And that modeling of showing how you communicate with when your mother-in-law is there and you're saying, okay, you know, this is how I'm going to show my kids clear boundaries, and those kinds of, actually, I'm super blessed. My mother-in-law is like God's gift to humanity. I adore her. When your mom is there and saying to that, you know, showing them that, and then saying to them, like, this is how I take care of myself. And I think, you know, Andi, you mentioned having that moment every morning in the meditation, and inviting your children into those kinds of moments is super important too, so they can see that. And I think that's why when you're with the grandparents, they're testing those boundaries.
Yes.
And they're going, well, this is what's true with mom, but is it going to be what's true with mom when grandma's there? And if the answer to that becomes no, you're screwed.
Uh-huh. It's been a rough few days, let me tell you.
Girl, I know.
You're rough.
Listen,
But at least my parents are here to support me. They support me even through the chaos.
that support is everything. Speaking
You
of
have to have it.
support, I wanted to ask, how important is community? Like, I'm sure when you maybe got pregnant or were thinking about becoming a mom, you reached out. Maraway, you mentioned that you reached out to Rocky. Like, girl, give me the lowdown. How important has a community of moms and performers been for you?
Everything.
Life-changing. Yeah.
Especially as an artist. I mean, I found moms. I lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan when I had my first son, which was not home for me. But you came to visit me. Remember when we came? We ate some lentil soup.
Delicious lentil soup, but she had just had a baby. I was like, okay, superwoman.
I had just got him in daycare too, like 2 days a week for half days. I was like, I could entertain for half a day, 2 days a week. So I had a hard time finding, I found a mom's group because that really helped my anxiety, was getting out with other moms and doing things with the kids. But I didn't find a lot of singers who, you know, and then Andre Johnson Chola, that's the girl, created a group on Facebook that has been my life. Okay. And it started out as just like a chat, like in Facebook chat. And the group now has over 2,000 moms. You know, and most of us are navigating, we're figuring out, okay, I'm going to be in Dallas, you know, who's working at this company who had kids? What's the housing like? Where's the nannies? You know, where's the pumping room? And like things that you need to know, like I need to know where to pump. And so it just, her creating this network where we could connect with other mothers who are in the business or who may have, you know, connections to the business, and even in administration and orchestral members, orchestral players, all of that. So I'm just putting her out there because I honestly don't know where I would be without that mamology group where I could just put in there, you know, hey, who's been to whatever. Look, even like Russia or whatever. I don't know where I took my children, but who has a nanny in this random place? So I think our community has been online for me. There's been so much more community, and then being able to get to those places and to meet those moms who live there and to just kind of, you know, hug them and have margaritas together or whatever we're doing. Yeah. So really this social media has really made community more possible for those of us who work in so many different cities and places and who may bring our children with us or are trying to figure out how to cope with not having our children with us and how do other women do it. So I'm grateful for that.
I met a bunch of moms in the park.
Were you weird like me?
What?
I said, were you weird like me?
Totally
like
weird.
I was like,
totally.
Hi.
No, I was living, so I had my kids abroad. My children were both born in Spain. I was living in Barcelona because I got a teaching gig there many years ago. And so they were both born there. And being a foreigner, you know, you would hear other people speaking English in the park, and it was like, oh, you know, we sort of had like a, okay, oh, where are you from? You know, and that was, so it was, so I met this group of moms, and we just kind of formed this community. And my favorite story of this was that the moms, we would all go out, we all lived within like a 4-block radius of each other, which was just really magical. And our kids were all within like 2 or 3 years of each other. So it was easy, you know? And so all the moms would go out for drinks, and all the dads would like go out for drinks, right? And one night the dads were all out, and this is a good looking group of guys. Like, I have to say, super international. Like, you can't cast it better than this group of dads. Right? So they're out for drinks at this like trendy bar. And one of the dads is Swedish, and these girls are speaking Swedish behind him. So he like turns around and he, you know, starts chatting with, oh, you're Swedish, blah, blah, right? So they start flirting with all of these dads, and they're like, hi, so like, where, you know, blah, blah, blah. And how did you guys meet? And they go, in the park with our kids.
Oops.
And those are still some of my best friends. And we live all over the world now. Everybody left because it was just like the international business community and abroad. But we still see each other. We try and have girls' weekends every couple years if we can swing it, you know, and it's important. It's super important.
Yeah, community is everything. You have to know. I will say that when I first had my son, even when I was pregnant, because I got pregnant as soon as we moved to New Jersey, and my mother was like, "Well, you need a crew. You need to get a support because we're down here in Maryland, and you are gonna need support." And I, was kind of like, oh, whatever, I'm busy working and stuff. And the first year of my son's life, I was very busy singing. My mother traveled with me and all of that. After that last gig, though, that's when I met you, Bernard. After that gig, I had a moment of involuntary career stillness. And I was like, okay, let me hop on Facebook and see what I can find. And I found this group of local moms whose babies were all born the year my child was born. And one lived 30-second walk that way, and one lived 2-minute walk that way. And we're like this now. And I trust them with my children. They have spent the night over my house so we can do date nights with our little husbands. And we go through the same struggles. We've met each other's family members. Like, it's a community that is, like, my mother was so right. You really need people who know what you're going through, because before that, all of my friends were, single opera singers working, their career. None of us knew anything about taking care of a child. And all of a sudden I was, isolated. So fortunately, I've been able to find people and talk to them and connect with them. And it's been invaluable. You have to have support.
For me, to be honest, someone told me recently that I keep all of my careers and things separately. Like, I keep my real estate career separate, my singing career, my family life, I keep it separate. And the reason why so many of us do that type of compartmentalizing is because the business, especially in opera, it seems if you have a family, or if you have something outside of being an artist, that you may not be a serious artist.
Right.
So when I was pregnant, I kept it a secret for a long time. And to be honest, it wasn't until, almost this baby was birthed that I made the announcement that I have a child, and what was a blessing for me, because I did not know I needed community, because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to handle this. I had no idea I was going to need community. My mother and my parents at the time lived and still live roughly 4 hours away. And so, honey, I walked in Nordstrom's, and I was like a mess, like literally tears, pregnant. I'm like emotional, like, what am I going to do? And at this point about 8.5 months pregnant. And I'm thinking, who is going to take care of this baby? Because I sure can't take care of this baby. I don't know what I'm doing with this baby. And I walked up to the mat counter, and it was a woman there. Her back was to me. And when she turned around, she was also 8.5 months pregnant. And she saw me crying. I was having a full moment. And she gave me a free makeover at that moment. And she was like, honey, this is going to be fine. And she and I became friends.
Yes.
Did not realize that we lived so kind of close. And she is one of my closest friends to this day. Her daughter is 8 years old, like my son is also 8. And she was the one who introduced me to a community of moms and let me see how, not that being a mom is easy, because it's not. Let me just say that this is not easy. And those mamas who baking cookies and always just on point, and honey, they struggling just like the rest of us. Don't get it twisted. And they just behind closed doors with, and not saying anything. But let me tell you, this ain't no easy job. So, but it was a blessing to see and be around, and I do this, normal people, not artists, who had children, and we were all the same time. Our children were being born roughly, weeks or a month or so apart. That community of women was so valuable to me, that it let me know, okay, I can do this. And I can make it through this. And I had them to lean on. And then, of course, with what Kirsten said, Andrea Sojola, Kirsten invited me to the group that Andrea had. I was so grateful to have now an artist full of moms, so I can see how they handle things. And Kirsten called me when she was pregnant with the second baby, like, girl, I'm paving the way for you. That's exactly how she said, girl, I'm paving I said, what are you talking about, sis? She talking about, I'm paving the way. I got baby number 2. I said, oh my God.
I knew you were going to have another boy too. I knew it.
Okay, honey. I said, what are we doing? She talking about, girl, I know. And I met Nagwanda Nobles. Nagwanda Nobles was in Atlanta, and I didn't have a child then. I wasn't pregnant. I was married, but wasn't pregnant, and wasn't even thinking about trying to get pregnant. But seeing how Nagwanda had her daughter at the time at every rehearsal, and her baby was sitting there with her little book, quiet every single. And then I would ask her questions. And so what I encourage people who are listening to us right now, ask questions, because this is something that you want, and there's a desire. And even if you're not sure if you want it, because I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't sure. I mean, Bernard and I, truth be told, honey, Bernard and I became thick as thieves, because he called me at 5:00 in the morning. Let me tell you. And he said, why are you not talking to God? Because I was so angry that I was pregnant. And I was married. I was not happy about being pregnant, because in my mind, I wasn't famous yet. I hadn't made it yet. I thought it was easier to have a husband and be like, okay, bye, I'll be back, and go sing, than being able to have a baby and strap that little thing on my back and be like, okay, I'm gonna go sing. I was so angry. And Bernard called me at 5 a.m. and he said, God woke me up to tell you, to ask you, why you not talking to him? And I hadn't told a soul that I was pregnant, not even my mama. The only person that knew was my husband. And I told him, if you tell anybody, because that's how I felt inside about it. When Bernard did that, I broke. And I told him, and he was so excited for me, but he also knew the place that I was in. And he said, it's going to be okay. You're going to form this community all around you, and you have no idea. He was my voice of reason. And so and just thinking about it, he was right. I'm getting emotional about it, because he was so right. It was such the best decision I could have ever made. And so I want you women out there who who's looking to have kids or even a family, even if you're afraid about getting married, don't be afraid. Just jump, because God will, your universe, whatever that is for you, will really transcend those people right in your life, honey, and surround you and protect you in the way that you need to be. You will not be alone.
Amen.
You will not. I have not been alone since having baby number 1, and now I got baby number 2. He 3. God provided. That's who it is for me. God is my higher power. Higher powers for whoever, whatever your higher power is. So I just want to encourage you women or men who are thinking about having families or just trying to figure this thing out. It will all work out to your good.
It will.
It really will. It really will. And I'm so grateful for Bernard for that day that he called me, because like I said, I meditate, and I had not talked to God for weeks because I was so mad. I didn't even go to the doctor. I knew that I was pregnant, would not go to the doctor. And I didn't show up to the doctor until my first trimester was almost over. I went on week 12. Yes. That's how hot I was. I was like, I ain't going. It ain't in here. In here. And
this is actually quite freaky how similar this experience is to mine. I did not know that about you in your first pregnancy. I can relate.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I ain't going. It ain't in here. I don't know what's happening. I'm not saying that, and I'm not talking to God. I'm not talking to nobody about this. And it took me a minute. But then once I got to month 6, I said, well, Lord, he in here now. So you better not take him away.
Right.
You better see this thing through.
Been kicking in everything.
Like, you better make them healthy. You better, every foolish thing I did, you better ignore it, Jesus. And you better cover it when he come up out of me. So, I totally did a switch. Now, my second child, I was just so elated day 1. But my first one, it was a struggle for me because I had these goals and dreams and passions. And I thought, because I was told and taught that if I go down this road, I won't be able to come back. And that's the thing. And I am here, and so are these other women who are also witnesses. They are here to tell you that you've gone down the road, and we're still performing.
Yes.
We're still living the dreams that we have aspired to live. However, it may not look the way we wanted it to look, but it's better than we could have ever imagined.
It feels better.
It's so much better.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, so people are asking in the comments, what is this Facebook group? Moms want to know.
Oh gosh, it's called Momology. I don't even know if it's open anymore. So I'm gonna have
making
so
new
many
ones.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 2,000, and so as a moderator, I don't know if we're gonna be open anymore. But we're taking a little bit of rest. Like I said, we got 2,000 moms in there, almost 2,000, I would say. But yeah, word will get out if we open up again. It'll definitely get out there. But we started out, like I said, just a chat group, and gosh, we just really seen the growth. And for a lot of moms, it has been a lifeline.
Yes.
And what's
navigating, and not just for artists. We've seen all kinds of situations and help, and yeah. So
what's so crazy is that we have this pack in the group that whatever's said in the group, it has to stay in the group. Yeah. So people confess all kind of things, and with all these women, you think it's gonna go out. I realize men are the ones who talk too much. It ain't. Let me they're the ones, because with 2,000 women in a group, honey, and ain't nobody's business seeping out nowhere. Woo-wee, it's the men folks, y'all.
Amazing.
They the problem.
Sitting there lying in the barber shop, okay? That's what they do.
Oh my God. Yeah, I will say before I was fortunate enough to be added to the group, I formed my own.
Good.
I said, okay, opera moms. And because I had, met a stage director, a pianist, one other opera singer. I was like, we're going to form a group. Okay, this is ridiculous. There's only 5 moms in opera. Child, I did not know. We are out here, and these folks are popping these babies.
We are here popping babies and popping high C's. It is possible.
Yes,
it is possible.
That's the hashtag.
Popping babies and popping
high
C's. Come
I'm
on,
gonna tweet that.
Popping babies and popping hashtag. That's a good hashtag.
T-shirt. T-shirt.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
High C's. Wet.
I'm writing it down.
Yes. One of my hashtags, popping babies and popping high C's. Thank you.
Yes.
It's empowering though. It really is empowering, because even like at the beginning, it's like, okay, one kid. Okay. And then these people are like, okay, well, here's number 2.
We got moms in there with 6, honey, 6.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Wait, what? Who has 6 kids?
And one of the group, I don't know, somebody got 6 kids.
Ooh, amazing. Lots of childcare.
I can't tell you who, because it stays in the group. It can't tell you.
People are asking about sharing the group's link, but it's currently closed.
It's currently closed, but I will
email.
I think that was Juliet. I know Juliet. I think she popped that in. I know that's my girl. I'm surprised she ain't already. I thought she was in one of them. But yeah, Juliet, I got you. When we open back up, I got you.
So as the ladies are speaking, their contact information is coming up below their video. So please feel free to email them, reach out to them on Instagram or whatever, and talk about the group. Ladies, we are in the midst of a global pandemic.
It's a panty.
Tell me, as performers, as moms, what has been your biggest takeaway from this whole thing?
I really like my family.
Oh.
And we do better when we're together. That's been a really important takeaway this year. And, I mentioned it earlier, like I'm getting pickier and pickier about what gigs I take, partly because of that, because I know how much better my relationship is with my husband when I'm around. We are a couple who the fighting happens when I'm gone. It doesn't happen when we're together. When we're watching Netflix, we are solid. If we can be, it's just, and so I think that's been a really lovely takeaway from this year is like, oh, these are my favorite people. I want to be with them, and that's been really sweet. And it's allowed me to decide kind of where I want my career to go. Because I came to opera late, I do a lot of concert work, I do a lot of other types of performing, and then being able to say, okay, what do I want to do right now? What's going to serve my family right now? And I got a poetry tour booked for next year. Like, yes. Wow. I know, right? Like, what? Oh, so in Germany, so that'll be exciting. And like, I know. It's a friend. He was like, "You're coming over. We're touring. It's happening." Okay. Yes. But that's been really sweet. I don't know. What about you guys?
I would say for me, as a singer, raising humans is normal. And I felt like that's something that was just not normalized, and possibly pre-pandemic opera, or even I would say for most women in any career, any woman who's had to be at home and do her work. Your kids are going to pop in a Zoom call. Yeah, so I'm recording in front of a green screen, and my kid is like, yelling from the bathroom, or they pop in and just try to make a cameo. Look, they're tiny. Look, I'm raising humans who are going to subscribe, okay, to opera companies and symphonies. That's what I'm raising them to do. So don't give me ish about, being a mom in this business. They're going to appreciate and buy up the boxes, okay? So I think for me, it's just normalized in this pandemic. For me, I feel more confident as a singer and a mother. I don't think I've ever been more confident doing both, even though I have completely fallen apart doing both. I think I had to fall apart in order to build myself back up in a genuine way, in a way that I can do it. And the thing that I've always known about myself is, I have a lot of friends who are very famous, and I've done gigs with these people, but it's always been like touch and go. But for me, I feel like I've done it my way. I've done it in a way that satisfies my soul. People are like, why aren't you singing here? You should be singing here. I don't know if I should. Honestly, I don't know if I should be. If I should have been singing there, I would have been singing there. I trust God that much. And I trust the decisions that I've made that much, that the spaces and places that I have been in are where I was supposed to be at that time.
Yeah.
And that if there is room, and there is room, and if I want to be there, and if I can see myself in that place, I'll get there and I'll do that thing. But I've had to completely fall apart this past year in order to rebuild myself. So I'm trying to see like the silver lining in all of this. And it's been tough to lose contract after contract, and losing income, and losing family, and losing friends. This has not been fun, but in the end, I feel like I'm coming back so much better, happier. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, what I want to focus. I know what I want to do. I want to have fun. And if it ain't fun, I ain't signing.
I'm with you.
I gotta have a good time now. I gotta have a good time.
That's what I was getting at earlier when I was talking about like me going through this whole anxiety period. It's like, I feel like I'm falling apart, and I feel like I've been holding all these things in my fists and trying to hold the world up on my shoulders. And lately I've just been letting it drop, but I know that I'm falling apart to fall together. I know that I'm falling apart so that something greater, so that the real me, whatever is inside of all this stuff I've been putting out to the world, can really come out and like be the real thing.
I love it. Yes.
Definitely.
You're afraid of falling apart, everybody. Fall.
Do it. Crumble.
Yeah.
Come back better.
It took me a few months into the pandemic to fall apart because I was in denial. I was in denial, and none of my gigs got outright canceled. They were all postponed. So I was like, oh, it's fine. We're doing it in June. No, sis. No, you thought it was. But yeah, it took me a while, and I had to admit, I had to admit to myself, because I'm a very happy person. Once I admitted to myself, I'm not happy. That was less like this light bulb went off. Like, okay, now what are we gonna do about it? Let's talk. And my husband's the problem solver, so he's like, "What am I supposed to do to help you?" And I'm like, oh no, I'm just talking. So I get to talking to my community, my opera singer friends, and some of my close family members, and they're like, girl, where's your therapist? You need a therapist. So I went through a long process because I wanted a very specific type of therapist that looked like me. Okay. And was fully covered by my insurance. And when I found her, she was more like me than I realized I wanted in a person to talk to. She understood. I mean, she's not a performer at all, although she thinks what we do is fabulous. But she, like, as a woman, she has experienced some of the same things as me, and it was just like, this is the person I need to be talking to. I've been able to really have this dark cloud lift, where I feel optimistic again, because I lost that for a while. I lost motivation. I lost my optimism. I lost any kind of vision for the future, aside from what's it called? The hamster wheel, just the same thing, in and out. Because like, meanwhile, my kid still needs to be taken care of. So it's like the same thing every day. And then, got on the therapy train, try singing again, because I definitely put singing aside for a little bit because I wasn't feeling it, and got my ish, slowly and gently back together, and things are starting to look better and feel better, and I'm really happy about that. I'm not excited that I went through mild depression, but I'm really excited for the emerging into the light. It also helps that like the days are longer and the weather is warmer. And like it really, really helps that through the silence of the pandemic, people remembered I existed in the industry because I've gotten a couple emails like, "Oh, are you available because so and so recommended you?" And I'm like, I haven't spoken to that person in over a year. And they remembered to mention my name in a room that I am not in. That's fabulous. That means I left a good impression. I sang well and, was professional. Amazing. So I'm really happy to continue doing this weird career in whatever way it looks like. I think the main thing I've learned from the pandemic is that my career will never look like the cookie cutter version that I was taught it was supposed to look like, especially not with having a family. And I am more comfortable with doing things in an unconventional way because that's what we've all had to do during the pandemic is find a way to make it work and find a different way to use my voice and put other types of content out there because it's okay to do other things besides, romantic opera. That's okay. New music is okay. Oh, Rocky, listen, girl, y'all got to check out her social media. Homegirl was like singing and doing yoga. And she's making music videos. Like,
we're trying to start a competition. We're trying to do, my friend who said, do you guys know opera aerobics? Have you seen those videos?
I do now because of you.
Oh my God. Okay, everybody watching, everybody at home, everybody here, go onto Facebook and just type in opera aerobics.
I'm gonna just write this down.
Your mind's gonna be blown. It is ridiculous how stupid fun this is. It's just great. It's just people singing opera and doing like 80s style aerobics at the same time. And then, yeah, it's crazy. And then I did one of like, I don't even know. And my friend who started it was like, will you just do an individual one? So I did that. And then it's super fun. But we want to have a competition, like, where everybody sends in their opera aerobics videos. So I'm putting that out in the universe. It needs to happen. Maybe we'll make it happen this summer. I feel like that's the time. And you will be judged on your choreography.
Oh.
But especially on your outfit.
I got the outfit. I got that.
No, everything's.
Oh my God. Looking at the face.
It's ridiculous. So much fun. Look at the one that has like 40,000 views or whatever. I forget what she called. I forget which one it is. Oh my gosh. It's insane. And Megan the girl who started it did it because she had one of those cruise ship gigs where she's like the star soprano on the cruise ship doing nothing all day. So she and the dancers on the cruise were like, let's spend this time and create this ridiculous. It's amazing. Just go watch it.
And oh my God. I got my life back.
Are coming out like you're still using your voice, you're still using your gift, and you're also using the beauty of technology to share your art in a unconventional way, and you're still creating content using your gift.
Yeah.
You're working, hon. It's great.
I've never heard of this. This is so neat.
It's so funny, right? I love it.
On the cover page. Just
But look, let me tell you.
I saw that. That's great.
Look, I bet you got some bomb breath control, honey.
Well, there's a part where I just start doing sit-ups, and you can really hear it struggling there. Y'all ever sung Vivaldi while doing sit-ups? That's hard.
Wow.
I love it. I love it.
Andy, biggest takeaways through this pandemic?
Biggest takeaway, not that I wanted the world to shut down, but this was so needed for me as a mom to totally reconnect with my boys, especially my oldest, because I had been gone for so long, and I did recognize that he was having moments with me gone. Even though he would see me on the weekends, I saw that he was having some issues. So I would have his dad bring him to me, and he would stay with me, and not go to school on some days so that he and I could reconnect. This has been eye-opening. Because I had to homeschool, I now realize that I can homeschool. And if I need to go away for a while, he can come with me, and mommy knows how to homeschool. And I've survived it. Not just survived it, but the baby is smart. I mean, he was smart before, but now, honey, this baby know, okay? He can write paragraphs. He's, second grade. He's now doing like basic algebra. This month, I'm so grateful.
So did you completely take him out of school?
I did. I took him because the private institution, unfortunately folded. As soon as school ended in that, May, the school completely folded, especially once parents said that they weren't going to put their children back in school in the fall. Especially with the virtual thing, because with private schools, you're paying quite a bit of money and you're really there teaching them yourself at the end of the day because they're so young, because he's so young, sitting there beside him, trying to help him through the curriculum. So I put him in a homeschool tutorial program. And it's here in Maryland, and it's actually ran by African American women. And it's called Bridge Homeschool Tutorial, Christian base. And they gave me the curriculum. And what was so great was the curriculum was the same exact curriculum that I was going to get from the school that he was going to do the following years. It was the second grade curriculum. Like I went to the principal of his old school and said, what would you be doing in second grade? And they gave me the same exact books. So I decided to homeschool him that way. Once I realized that I can do that, I was like, okay, Jesus, you can open up some more doors. So, and I'm grateful. Now, did I have depression, anxiety issues, tired of being around my family 24/7? Yes. Did I take a pill? Yes. Okay.
Take it.
Okay. I don't drink. I'm not a drinker. I don't drink, alcohol, wine. I don't smoke, but I eat. And I found myself starting to like eat to try to suppress what was really going on. And instead, I saw my doctor and I was like, I need some help because I'm having a hard time. And so I took, my medication, my anxiety medicines to get me through until I started getting better. And once I got better, I was able to wean off of it and was fine. But if I still needed to take it, honey, you better believe I'm gonna pop that pill because you're not gonna have me on no bridge. You hear me? Okay.
No.
Because I'm gonna tell you, your mental state is everything. You'll be standing on a bridge and don't know how you got up there. And so because of that, that is one thing that I did realize that it's okay. Whatever we're going through mentally, it's okay. But just make sure you're getting some help.
Yes.
But being with my boys and really seeing my son's pitfalls with school and just who he is as a person, I was able to really, really know him even more so than I thought I did. And that is what I really took away. And just how resilient we really are, to be honest. As artists, anyway, you're going to pivot. When gigs are not coming, whether we're in a pandemic or not, if gigs are not coming, you're going to pivot and be like, okay, I need to do something else and figure out something else until this thing happens. And so as artists, we are much more resilient than, I'll say, regular humans. That being said, we still had moments when we saw that it was not going to happen. It wasn't Auntie's encouragement that had me get my little pill. Come on, get your pill, ma'am.
Get a little pill.
Because because I didn't want my children to have a sour mom. I didn't want my children to have not present, like just always angry, depressed, sad. I had to get it together because children are even more resilient than us.
Yes.
My boys, even though they weren't going to school, woke up every morning. Good morning, mom. Good morning, happy. And I wanted them to still have that experience. So that's what I learned. I learned that I can homeschool if I need to. Do I want to do it? No, no. Okay, but I did it. Okay, and I made it because this was the last day, honey. Today, yes, the program is over. We are finished.
Congrats.
Wow.
Yes, and we are done with the
Yes,
career.
girl.
And I'm grateful, and he'll be passing on to the third grade. Now I still have to figure out what I'm gonna do in the fall because I don't feel comfortable putting my boys in school without some sort of vaccine because my oldest has really 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 bad asthma, and I'm not comfortable yet. My husband and I are not comfortable, so we have to figure this thing out. But that's what I learned. And I learned that it's okay and we need to talk about our mental state to help us through because you don't know that if you can help somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Oof, that was a word. That was
No, pass the plate.
right.
Important. It affects everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of thoughts going through my head, and it wasn't until I spoke it out loud that the process began to deal with it. And it still took months because, okay, I have this insurance. I want this type of therapist. I reach out to this lady, no response. Okay, I'm gonna email you. I'm gonna call, no response. Okay, now I gotta start over from scratch trying to find, like, it's a process, but I needed it. And I had other people in my life, males and females, that was like, I highly encourage you to do this. I did it and it helped me. It's gonna help you. So once I got talking with someone, and it took months, it took me a couple of months to finally get that first appointment because insurance is annoying. But thank God. And now she's at the point where she's like, so you want to talk once a month? And I'm like, you don't want to talk to me, girl? She's like, yeah, just maintenance. You kind of don't need it anymore. You're good. So thank God for that.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
Listen, we've got cardiologists, we've got endocrinologists, we've got all types of doctors. Just because you have a heart problem doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. Just because you have mental illness or you have something going on with your brain that needs to be looked at or talked about doesn't mean that you're crazy. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. So I want to encourage everyone out there, especially the moms, because I know y'all be going through it. Seek out a mental health professional, seek out community, seek out ways to be talking to each other, because when you talk about it, it gets better. It does get better. Thank you all so much for this show. This has been amazing, and I know that we've helped a lot of people. As we get ready to wrap up, my final question for you, or thing that I would like for you to talk about, is to talk to those women and encourage them, because this is about motivation and encouragement. Encourage those women that feel like it's too late. They maybe haven't met the man. They maybe have been having trouble getting pregnant, and they feel like what you have, they will never have. What would you tell yourself if you were in that situation? What would you tell a friend that may be feeling a little bit discouraged?
Ooh, I had this conversation with a friend who's doing very well in her career very recently. And I tell her, honey, the grass is always greener. You want what I got. I want what you got, girl. You got them ducats. You stacking them coins. So I would say, what is for you is for you, and to enjoy what you have, and to really think about if you're not happy in what you're doing, then maybe take a step back from your schedule, because sometimes it's that schedule that keeps you busy and keeps you gone, and really make room for that blessing. Really make room, and don't try to stay busy. Like, who are you staying busy for? If you're staying busy for you, then yes, do you. But if you're staying busy for staying busy work for just being a busybody, as my mom would say, you just a busybody. For what? Yeah. What are you gaining? That was me, honey. What are you gaining in being a busybody? And so, I would say what's for you is going to be for you. And you might have a kid and get married, whatever. You might hate it. I just think I love it, but it might not be for you. So really just let it happen organically. Make room for the blessing. And if you're happy doing what you're doing, keep doing what makes you happy. Don't think that you have to have something because somebody else has it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I had to learn on the flip side. Sometimes I look at my kid and look at my kids, look at my husband, just being honest.
Boy, bye.
We can be honest, right, bro? We can be honest.
That's real.
That's real, But this is me. This is my life. This is what is for me. And I have to firmly believe that. And I have embraced it. This is what is for me is for me. And what's for you is for you. And if that's what you want, then see yourself in that place. Envision yourself. Make room for that in your life. Don't be busy for nobody else but you. Do your life for you. Because a lot of us are not doing it for ourselves. And we can see the cracks. People out here bleeding. They out here bleeding in this business.
I would like to say, and I hope that no one takes this the wrong way, but faith without works is dead. I've known a couple of people who want certain things, but they don't put any action towards getting it, or at least putting themselves outside of their home so that a chance could happen. You have to, it's a risk. You have to put yourself out there in some way, shape, or form. But in the meantime, continue doing the things you love and enjoy. I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to travel, do a lot of girls' nights and things like that before I had anyone else to take care of, because I still miss those things, but at least I got to experience them. I would just say, and try your hardest. This is hard, but try not to compare yourself to other people, because we all want what someone else, or at least a portion of what someone else has. I some of my friends and family that do not have kids, they're working this maybe awful job just at their computer all day long, and at least I have the opportunity to get up and run after my child. But I remember looking at them being like, dang, well, at least you don't have to deal with this crazy 2-year-old. Like Kirsten said, the grass is greener. So try to enjoy the now and bloom where you're planted, because when your life changes, it's going to be swift. And you don't want to feel like, oh, I should have done that when I had the chance. So,
and I think also
now.
And allowing, I have a very dear friend here in the city who was not able to have kids. She's infertile. It was a years long, almost a decade long process. And some of the things that people say to her are incredibly hurtful. Just keep trying. And she's deeply religious. God will give you a baby when it's time. These kinds of things. And this year she called me last summer and she said, I'm done. I can't keep doing this. After a decade, y'all, decade of trying. And she said, I can't keep doing this. And I said, you sound different. Like something's different now. And she said she had come to a place of peace. And I said, let's have a party. And so we threw a memorial service for the life that she thought she was going to have. And it was weird. And we all wore, the invite said Victorian mourning was the dress code. It was so New York. We're all in veils out in Riverside Park. It was amazing. And people are walking by what is wrong with you all? And it just allowed her the space to grieve. And I think I would say, if children are not in your future, but you wanted kids desperately, that was a path that you're allowed to grieve. You're allowed to mourn for the future that never came to pass. And if that takes you 6 months, if it takes you 6 years, allow the space for that. Because God is going to give you what you can handle. And you have to take that light in yourself and Maraway said, bloom where you're planted. And it might be with kids and it might not. And that's okay. And just allowing that grief, I think that's the biggest thing I learned this year from being, witness and present for my dear one's struggle, was just that there's a lot of grief that we don't talk about as women when you can't have babies. And that grief is real and it's brutal. And it's not like losing a loved one. It's not like you're like, oh, I got to take, paid family medical leave because I lost a loved one. No, but that grief is just as dramatic, if not more so, to you. And so allowing that space, if that's your situation, and just also, if you know somebody in that situation, just being mindful of saying things like, well, the baby will come when it's time, like,
Yeah.
or they're infertile and the baby won't come, and you're just picking at a wound, and so just allowing yourself, for all of us who have the blessing of children, to say, to be able to be there and show up for our sisters who can't, and brothers, frankly.
Yeah.
What I would say to encourage you women out there is that take time to take time. And what I mean by that is just really stand in your truth and write things down, even when you're not sure what to write down. When I am meditating in the morning, I always have a notebook and pen beside me, because I'm not clear always what I need to be doing for me. Because I give myself to so many people, to so many things. So I tell you to take time to take time. And for those women who are struggling with infertility, with those women who are having a hard time finding a mate, take time to take time. And also take the time to know that there are always options. There are so many children that need to be loved. And if it's not your path to birth one out of your body, there may be another option for you in adoption, foster care, whatever it is. But if that's really your desire to be a mother or a father, take time to take time. Make sure you're taking the time to educate yourself about these things, what other options there are. Because there are, like I said, so many children that need love, and they could care less if you're black, blue, white, yellow, green, because love has no color. And for those women who are looking for that mate, it's hard. It's hard to find that right person. But what I did when I was in search of my mate was I wrote everything down that I wanted him to be, all the characteristics I wanted in a man. And I prayed about it and put it in my Bible and let it go. And I found my husband on blackpeoplemeet.com. The best $10 I ever spent.
$10.
That was an investment.
Take time to take time. So remember, what I'm telling you is life will go by you so quickly and you don't understand why or what happened, and it's a blink. But take time to stand in your truth, understand who you are, and really take the time to write down the things you are desiring in your life, no matter what it is. And I don't care how minute, how small you may think it is, remember that there is nothing too small for God or for whatever your higher power is. So take time to take time. That's what I have to encourage.
Okay, well, we're going to take some time to take time. Again, thank you for joining me tonight This has been a fantastic show. I have learned so much. I know that the audience appreciates it. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, so we didn't get as many of their comments as we wish that we could have. But we know, I feel it. A lot of people were set free. A lot of people had something else to think about. A lot of people are going to take time, and people are going to consider the next time they tell somebody, oh, you just have to keep trying. They're going to consider maybe not saying that. And I think that that's also very much possible. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to close with a closing meme. I don't even know what I picked, but I know it's something. Oh, here we go. Emotional maturity is understanding that people are allowed to be disappointed with us. People are allowed to be disappointed with us, and not having to own that disappointment for them or betray ourselves in an attempt to avoid it. How many times have we not said what we needed to say? How many times have we said yes when what was in our souls and in our hearts and what was on our lips was really a no? How many times have we gone on a date or maybe even said yes to a marriage or said yes to a gig or said yes to whatever it may be when the answer is really no because we're afraid of disappointing someone? It's okay for them to be disappointed. If it's a real connection, if it's meant to be, if it's really love, it won't change. Love. I'm talking about real love never changes. It may change forms. It may go through divorce. It may go through breakup. It may go through death, transition, but love never changes. So don't be afraid to say what you need to say. Don't be afraid to be who you need to be. Listen, as you go through relationships, both of you are going to grow. Sometimes periods you grow apart, sometimes periods you grow together. It's cyclical from what I hear. So don't be afraid to be who you are, because when you are who you are, then you know that that person really wants to be there. Then you know that that person is really there to support you. Then you know that you can rely on this relationship to be what you need it to be. But when you're afraid to disappoint them and you're not being your true self, you can't trust it, because you're always going to be yourself. Eventually, whatever it is that is in you is going to come out. So there's power in being who you really are. There's power in saying what you really need to say so that your relationships can be fortified and built on a strong foundation, as opposed to being knocked down by any little wind that may come to blow it down. I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the Damon Speaks Show. You can find us every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Tune in next week. I have Tobias Gilbert. He's coming through. He is a Black yogi. He is also an entrepreneur, and we're going to be talking about the path and embracing your path and embracing your body and just embracing it all. I would be remiss if I did not mention Cody Godot, who is my co-producer. Thank you, Cody, for all that you do, for looking out for us. We love you. All right, we're going to say goodbye for now, but we'll see you next week. Let's roll the credits. Bye, everybody.